Okay, so which is better, using a spot welder with a shrinking tip or burly set of torches? All right, kids. Today on 356 project, Teresa and I are going to do some heat shrinking. Now, full disclosure, heat shrinking is a bit of a complicated task. We're heat shrinking sheet metal, by the way. So heat shrinking sheet metal is complex. You can see that we've got all these tools here that we use for sheet metal. Yeah, we got lots of stuff here. But in our world, because we build hot rods and we build them start to finish, there will be 6 to 10 months where we do nothing but sheet metal, then 6 to 10 months where we do nothing but bodywork and paint, 6 to 10 months where we do nothing but assembly. So a person gets out of practice. So I'm not telling you I'm an expert at this, but we're going to have some fun comparing the torch to the electrical, it's like the heat spotter. We're going to use that thing and the torch. I'll show you the pros and the cons and what I know about it. So hopefully what I know transfers to you guys and you'll get a good start on whether you think shrinking sheet metal is something that you want to do, right? So here, we'll show you the problem. It's pretty simple. Here we finally got our piece for the windshield for the base of the windshield. Now, where Teresa's touching it, you can see it doesn't touch the car, which means 6 inches in, it's too tall. So what we're going to do is heat shrink this area.
Oh, I see.
So if we could push that down,
right,
that would come down, this would come down, and the fit would be better. So the overall shape's pretty darn good. You can see it in the middle, it's good. And here we have the exact same problem on the other side. This is too tall, there's an opening here. So clearly we have too much metal here, and what we're going to do is heat shrink it down. And the further we get that down, the better everything's going to fit. And then we're hopefully not going to have to use much for fillers to make the shape right, but we need the base of that windshield to look really, really nice. Okay, that's what we're doing today. Let's go get set up. Now, the torches have got the wrong tip on them. This is actually a cutting tip. So we're going to switch that out real quick. Doesn't fit this set of torches. So, again, I'm not an expert with this stuff. I'm sure you guys will comment, the guys that have done it forever and have been teaching these classes, but this is more of a brazing tip. It's only got one little hole in the end, and we'll be able to control the heat with that way better. So, because I already know that the electric is slower, I'm going to start with that. So we're going to use the electric one. It's a little bit less chaos. It doesn't move as much metal as fast, but that's what we'll start with. So, nice little piece. I knew there was something acting up with this panel when I pulled it down and I did the welding, but there's a really nice Porsche shape here that needs to exist. The hood is down here, and then we're down again at this end once it's all put together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this. That whole ridge there is kind of high, and I don't want to take too much away in this region because the Porsche has a really nice shape there. So what I'm really looking to do is get it down here, right? And hopefully some of that brings this up, right? And then some of this will come up. Nice thing about this is I'm able to access it from the back side. So we're going to be able to do it from both sides. Okay. Now, the theory. We'll play with theory on heat shrinks. The idea is, and any good professor in your school will tell you, that you are bringing the molecules together. So we're going to start by heating a certain spot. It swells, and if you rapidly cool it, all the molecules come together and it lowers that spot. So we're going to have a high spot and then it'll become a lower spot. Now, when you have a big surface like this to do, You want to do it in small increments. So, getting started. First test on just a spot welding unispotter, we call them. Okay, see that? I'm going to shrink it. So what will likely happen is we'll probably have six, somewhere between 6 and 10 shrinks with this compared to one shrink with the torch. And why I keep saying I think that's good is because we have a lot of control here. The panel won't run away from us. So what I'm going to do is just follow the high part of the ridge here and just keep going. We'll do a half a dozen, see if we have measurable results. Again, I'm trying not to work just one spot.
It's like liposuction.
Now, another important part of this will be shaping this panel with a hammer and dolly. I wanted to shrink it first a little bit. Now I'm going to shape it with a hammer dolly. All right, so we see that it's come down a very small amount. Now I'm going to try to pound it down just a little bit and then rework the area. Now, the reason I chose to do that after some shrinking is because I could feel by pressing on it that there was a lot of tension. And if I had hit it with a hammer and tried to dolly it out before the shrinking, I think I would have just ended up with a bunch of dents in it. Whereas right now I've still got quite a smooth panel and I brought it down to some degree. So let's just do a little checkup here. You can see that that gap is down just a little bit from a thumb space to a pinky space. And this has become very pronounced. It used to be a big arc, which means the shrinking area has now shrunk down to here. So I'm still tall, but I'm only tall in a small section rather than a big one. So I'd call that progress. What I'm going to do is beat it up a little bit more with the hammer for a second, and then do some more heat shrinking. It's a slow process. Don't take on too much at once. Now, if you noticed, I was working the area around the shrink and not directly on the shrink. Okay, you can see that's all working together in harmony. See how now the space is even smaller and really getting close here. We're making progress, and we're making progress pretty quickly, so I'm happy to keep carrying on with the small shrinks. Ooh, that's hot. Don't touch that with your fingers. All right, I'm working away from just the center there. Sorry about the noise. I know for a fact I'm going to have some old boys critiquing me for using air to cool it. I've always used that. It makes the process a lot slower, but less messy. Anybody that's been doing this trade or was doing this trade 50 years ago will tell you they just like a big wet rag and they pound it on there, and I'm always worried that you end up getting water in areas that cause rust later on, so I just use air as a preference. Now that was an interesting shrink. I don't know if Teresa saw it, but it's the first shrink that went down into the car and then it brought itself back up when I cooled it. So that means we're really getting closer to this panel sort of being at its end, right? What happens when it gets to the end, it'll do a thing called oil canning. You'll press down on it, it pops back up, down, and pop back up. So we don't want to do a lot of that. We will, you know what I'll do? I'll show you guys how to visually tell where you're at. So a simple file, and you've probably heard, unless you've been hiding under a tree, about file fitting a car or pick and filing a car. Now, did that become obvious? And you can come and have a look here. I think in this light it's really obvious. Check that out. So I just filed, and look at these neat shapes that came up. So that means this is high, and then this space is high, right? Now what I'm going to try to do is get these high spots to come down. I'll bring these low spots up, and then hopefully I've got a really smooth transition through here. And now that I'm finding my way with the tool, I'm being a little braver and holding the heat on just a little longer. See that one come up? Watch it go down. I hope you can see that on the camera. It's really actually quite cool. Again, this is a much less dangerous way to do it. This is also one of those tools that has multi-uses in the shop. Not that a set of torches doesn't, right? See it? See it drop there? I almost like that. I'm not going to cool that off that quick. It went right where I wanted it to. Leave that alone. So I'm using my eyes a lot. Trying not to touch this when it's too hot. Yeah, I can still feel it's quite high here, so I'm going to work this area just a little more aggressively. The machine's pissed.
Overheated?
Yep. Have to wait a minute for that, so I'll just hammer and dolly while we're doing that. It's really a game of patience, I'll tell you. Well, that's good news. So we've got, you see how the gap is very, very similar all the way through here? I think we're really getting that. Yeah, I'm liking what I see there. It's obvious we still have to work the same area, but because I've brought it out all the way to here, I'm working the whole area down with some patience. We're probably not quite there yet, but we got to wait for this thing to come back to life. What happens is when you heat and you shrink, you harden the metal. When you bang it together, you're hardening the surface, and it makes it harder and harder to keep working that surface. So what you do is you just take off a little skim by grinding it, and I think it anneals it. I think that's the word for it. Again, if you're an old school professor and you've been doing this forever, don't beat me up, but this is how we get through it here. So a little grinding just takes the hardening off the top of your surface and allows you to start all over again. I can physically feel that this has come down a whole bunch. And a whole bunch in our world is like 3/16 maybe? Okay. Very educated. Here's the, oh yeah, that's good stuff. So that sits like that. So we want to shrink this, that, and then for shape, we still want to get a bit of this out of here. Now the reason we don't want to just get the area where the windshield lands is because if this shape is wrong leading into that, you're going to have a really sharp adjustment in your bodywork. And I don't want that. I want all these lines to flow together. So we'll do a little shrinking out here. Set up. Oh, look at that. You can really start to see the shape here. Very, very happy with that. Okay, I'll just do a little bit of dolly work there. Once that excess material is gone, you sure have a chance of doing a good job of this. Come and have a look. See how we're down to just a beautiful little gap there all the way through.
Oh, that's...
Yeah, it's come a long ways, right? And you can feel that it's really close here, really close here, really close here, really close here. The problem with going much further with this at this point is that this is also just a flimsy piece, right? So we don't want to overdo it and then get the windshield not to fit. So I think we almost want to step over to the other side. Super happy with that. Okay. On to the other side. This is the much more aggressive way to do it. It's the way all the old timers do it, and I'm going to do the same as the other side. The start of the process is exactly the same. We know we have a huge area there that needs shrinking. We'll start up the center of it and try to bring it down, and then we'll work the outsides just a little bit. Lots of material to move there. Phew, too much pressure there. I'm looking for just that little guy right there. Again, I'm going to try it to keep it a small flame. I don't believe in trying to bite off a whole bunch at once. So, metal more quickly. So I'm going in really, really fast till the blue flame gets to the metal. Turn the metal a different color, rises. Teresa can get you a good angle on that. Going in really, really fast. Watch the metal rise.
That was a good one.
So I'm going Now sorry, that was kind of boring, but I'm not getting as much movement as I'd like to. I'm going to step into more heat in a bigger spot. So you'll see me take the torch and actually make a little circle. The old boy that taught me always said dime size, then pull away. I think dime size is probably large in my world, but I'm just going to do a couple of them now that I've seen. This metal has been completely moved without really losing shape or creating any weirdness. So that's why I'm trying to do it very slow and methodically here. And you can see the pattern is pretty even, so we're bringing the whole thing down. Now what I'm going to do is I know there's a large chunk right here that I want to bring down, one large chunk right there that I want to bring down. So you're going to see two very large shrinks here. I'm going to start here. I'm going to get it red and move around. See dime size. That's really going to start to change the shape of the panel rather than just doing it little by little. I don't recommend this unless you already know. Unless you already know where the metal is going to go. I have a good idea of it now that I've been working it. Oh, see how that one went down? One more here. So if we're talking pros and cons of what we're doing here, the torch is definitely faster. It produces more heat. Of course, we're not wrecking the breaker panel. It's aggressive. So definitely, you can see the difference between my small ones that are, I don't even know, they're this size. There might be 3/16 or 4 millimeters wide. And then there's some big ones that are more like a dime size. I have another old boy that would do the dime size, and then he would hammer off dolly and try to bring the molecules together with the hammering. I always found that left a lot of pimple marks, so I'd rather spend more time working the metal like this and trying to get it to come together than overly bashing it. So I will end up hammer and dollying this, but not while it's red hot. That's just a personal choice. Okay, we'll just do a little checkup to see where we're at. The other disadvantage to the torch is it's a live flame, so we've got to put it away to get to work. How's that looking there, love? Are we improving it? It's coming down.
It's coming down.
You can
Still
see
got
though,
a little bit more.
got a long ways to go. It's getting longer this way, which I like. That's where we're headed anyways. So, a little banging around. Now you guys probably can't see it, but that little bit of banging sure put this right where it belongs. So you're probably already noticing it's not just one tool that gets the job done. It's a multitude of tools. And they're all going to need a little patience and practice from you to work right. can see it coming together there, hey? All right, that's coming along. I've definitely got some obvious high spots and low spots now from banging it and shrinking it. Can you see how much that's coming along though? We are definitely making headway. You can see the major pivot spot right there, right? So we'll mark that. And it actually creates a nice high crown all the way along there. So I'm going to try another high spot there. Yeah, look at that when you hold them down. Really got a good shape. We'll get this down. I believe this will have to come up just like the other side I did.
Oh yeah, I can see right there.
Yeah. Might have to get the welder out for that one. Okay. I am tempted, because this is close, just to bang it around a bit more. Same process, little blue torch. Do another eyeball on this thing. We're really getting close. I put a lot of heat to that one because I could see that area is still quite tall. Lots of heat this time. Okay. We'll bring you guys over and show you what that looks like. Then I'm going to bang it around some more. There's the result of that very heated area. Now I'm going to take a hammer dolly and beat that up a little bit. Now we're definitely not at the pick and file stage yet, because we're trying to get the whole panel down, which I think I've succeeded pretty darn good here. Oh yeah. I'm going to hold this way up. There it is. There it is. Wow. That's really great. Yep. So, Still just a little bit of rocking there. Same spot too, so I think if I'm going to work that panel anymore in that spot, I think I'm going to anneal it one more time. We're just about there though, guys. Oh, there we go. Okay, we've got the shape. I'm going to show it to you guys. See how that spacing is absolutely even. Okay, now all right. We're definitely on short strokes here. This is fitting very well. The windshield basically fits well to this piece, but I'd like to do an overall test. I've still got to shrink some of this here, but you can see it's really got a nice fit to it there. So I want to just see with the windshield in place where we're at before we go too much further. It's looking just a little more complex having the windshield in place than I thought. So that fits there. And you sneak it up. Don't hold, yeah, just like that. There. It's all relaxed, right? Perfect. Okay. There we go. It wants to be inside there, I think. Okay, back in the car. Back in board. Okay. As you can see, we got away from heat shrinking, and the reason we did that is we do have to fit this windshield so that it fits right to the car to know if the heat shrink was successful. So that doesn't.
Fits better.
Definitely got an issue with the lower windshield rubber, which I think is the wrong one. It will address that. So let's have a look. What does this look like when we're done? You can see this is fitting really well. Windshield's going into place. Got a really weird thing happening with the windshield where I think it needs to be tilted forward, so that's a whole nother day. This fits good. I'm probably going to heat shrink this little area just a bit more right here. It looks to me, windshield shape-wise, got a little opening in the middle. So we aren't done. Got a little bit more to do. We're going to finish that for you guys today. As far as, is the torch better than the little electric stud puller?
I thought so.
Well, the torch is more efficient, but it's dangerous.
Oh.
So the pros of the torch are that it acts quickly. That's also very much a cons, because if you're really getting started and you want to watch your metal move and you have a little bit of patience, it can move a lot of metal in ways that you don't want it to. You also have to buy supplies for that one. The little electric one is a little slower. So depending on the job, both are useful. If you can only afford one, I would right now buy the stud puller because you can do a multitude of things with it. So that's my advice.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
there it is, looking like a Speedster.
I like it.
Clearly needs some more work, but it's good.
Thanks, guys. Okay.
Okay guys, thanks so much for paying attention to this project. It means a lot to us. We appreciate the comments. We appreciate that you're getting involved and you're interested and that you think it's cool. It inspires us to work on our weekends on a project that wouldn't otherwise get touched. So keep them coming, get subscribed, keep making your comments, keep inspiring us to work on this project.
Share this channel with other people.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.